Hello and welcome to Northwest Knitting. My name is Kathy and this is my knitting podcast where I talk about the projects I'm working on, the yarns that I love, and my journey toward making more sustainable clothing. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Northwest Knitting. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You are most welcome. I'm coming to you from the Willamette Valley in Oregon, in Eugene, and I'm so happy to have a few moments here to talk to you and to kind of chill out myself. I've got a cup of tea with a little shot of maple syrup to keep me going, and I hope that you can settle in yourselves and join me. I'm thinking it'll be a shorter episode, but you never know. So I'm recording this, I think I'm recording on the 20th of December, and probably by the time I put this up, it'll be solstice. So happy solstice to you. We celebrate the spirit of Christmas in our house, and so I have been bustling around. I have in my mind every year a Christmas, and I think I'll call it a fantasy Christmas. And in this fantasy Christmas, things are calm, peaceful. There's very soothing music playing. There's maybe a nice little fire in our wood insert. That would be lovely. And I'm cuddled up on the couch and I'm very thoughtfully and mindfully knitting up maybe some last minute gifts, or maybe I've gone ahead and I'm just doing some forward looking knitting, and all is calm and peaceful, and my vacuum cleaner works. The house is really clean. Oh, maybe some things are baking. Well, some of these things are not happening here, and I hope they will be. I have family joining as we get closer to Christmas, and they'll be here for a while, and the house will be filled with some little ones and a couple dogs. And we'll be going in and out. Maybe we'll have some walks. Hopefully there'll be some really slow breakfasts where everyone sits around and chats and drinks coffee, and those are my very favorite times. So I think there will be some of that happening, but most of the lead up to the holiday hasn't been so soothing. So I won't go into all the details, just a lot of little life challenges. And I have to say that a lot of my knitting has not gone as planned. I was listening to, I think it's a woman who I think she goes by Julie Knits and Knits. I'll put her Instagram name down below, and she had a little thing where she talked about being an experienced knitter and messing up a Sophie scarf or shawl, and how you can be very experienced and still have things really not work out, or not what you expected, or whatever. So I think life lesson that all kinds of things happen in life, and you don't, you think you've planned, and things don't happen quite the way you planned. And I think being a happy person certainly means that you roll with the punches. That's a phrase we use here. Or you just adapt. And fortunately for me, I live with a man who is really an expert at when he runs into a roadblock, he just goes, whoop, and he keeps going. He is, he can get hot like everybody can, but he's really good at just shifting gears and going on to the next thing and not letting it bother him. So I'm using him as a role model. So one of the things that has been a little challenging is a lot of my knitting has not worked quite the way I expected. Even though the pattern was really nice, or even though I've done it many times before, I've done the same pattern many times before, all kinds of things. It's just really funny. So I've been trying to just relax, just erase some things from my list and try and enjoy what is happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is tell you what I'm wearing. Speaking of Sophie's shawls and scarves, I'm sure a lot of people are doing a last minute one. I made this one, about a year, almost 2 years ago now, when we were in Ireland, and it's the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit, and it's made in Berocco, Ultra Alpaca, and I do really love this yarn, and the hallmark, I think, of the Sophie scarf is this nice I-cord. Actually, when I made it, I had some trouble. I find it harder to do garter stitch really neat and tidy than I do stockinette for some reason. And so this is garter stitch. And then I was having problems with the edges, keeping track. I figured it out though, and I've made 2 of these and I love them. They did take me a little longer than I expected, given how little it is, So this is an old project, but I wear these a lot, and I could easily be happy with another one. I thought about making this for somebody, because they could, if you wanted to, use it for that. Not me. But anyway, very nice. I've been seeing people do these as a last minute Christmas present. The other thing I'm wearing is my Nordic Bloom. And I love the pattern. I love the color work. I think I might have had a lot of the color work done had I steeked it last time. I'm not sure. I did talk about it quite a bit in the last episode. But this is Nordic Bloom by Caitlyn Hunter, and it is in the Nordic Knits book, and it is 16 stitches to 4 inches, so a nice big gauge. And here it is. And I made a change that might have affected the fit, and also I haven't checked it this morning, but I think my gauge is pretty right on, but I chose the wrong size. So I wish, or in a perfect world, I would have picked a size up. I think I did size 2, and I did all the math, and it still turned out wrong. And I was really puzzled, because most of the time now I don't make the mistake of too small. I feel like I really have a knack for that, which is good, because I really want to wear my knits. That's my a great pleasure. Oops, stop messing with the hair. But I did. This is not a great fit, and it might be something to do, but the vision was that I was going to make this little vest, and then it was to go with this dress. That's why I'm wearing a rather not very seasonal dress. My dress is from Blue Sky Clothing Company, and it's a bamboo. I'll show you this. It's a cotton bamboo with 5% lycra, so it's super stretchy, and it's kind of got a hinterland vibe. Big pockets, goes down to like a little below my knees, and my vision was this little vest was going to go with it. It's not a perfect color match, and I was using up some of my Lettlopi. So that was the vision. And I feel like the vision was not achieved. Still like the dress, and love this pattern. I love the Lettlopi yarn. I used Ash Heather. The blue is Fjord blue, and on this one right here I used Jamieson and Smith 2-ply, I think Brambleberry. I'll put the colors down below, and I held it with a mohair because I thought it would be more interesting to have a little bit more color in there, and I'm happy with that. So love the Lettlopi, super drapey, but I made a change, and it's not like a complete failure, but it's not working the way I imagined. So as you can see, it's designed to have a lower, maybe I made this a little tighter than I should have, I don't know, but it's too tight, number one. Okay, so that's one problem, and I will button it just to prove that to you, I guess. I did have a thought. I have some other clothing. Now, it is also possible I ate too much chocolate candy between the time I started the vest and finished it, but I don't think so. I don't think that was the issue. Okay, so you can see, ta-da! It's not bad, right? I mean, yeah, it is. I almost never have this issue. I know you could go on Ravelry and you could see designers showing a cardigan or a vest, button-down vest, and doing this. And I strive mightily for that not to happen. And if something fits the way I intended to, my will not do that if the yarn is sturdy enough. So I don't know what that's all about, other than fit. It's just not. It's a little tighter. I did once solve this problem after the fact by making it into a pullover and just sewing up along here. I'm not ruling that out, actually, because I could make it as a something I wear open, but there's something for me that's not quite working. Anyway, so when you look at her pattern, I think all of it was designed to fit a little looser. So, oh no, I'm not finding the picture. Oh, here it is. This is what I just showed you. And also, see, her button is higher. Well, a change that I made is that the way the pattern works, when you finish this color work, you immediately start decreasing along here and dividing for starting a new panel. It's bottom up, and you're gonna come up here, and so it starts right when you finish this. I added another inch or so, and I had a reason for doing that, and maybe it was silly, but I didn't want the flower directly on a certain part of my body. So that's why I did it that way. But maybe, and so if I had followed the pattern, the color would have gone higher, and then you shift directly. So I could even still put one more button here. But when I tried it on before, it just looked a little strange. And I think there's just something that's not 100% for me. So anyway, I do like the pattern. I would even be tempted in the future to try it again. I don't know, but let me just show you that, yeah, I could do this. I could do that. So I don't know, doesn't feel great, and it probably would look better this time of year over like a turtleneck or, you know, something like that. So I'm going to take it off. Oh, and I had another issue. I think I talked to you about it last time. I'm going to put on something that's a little warmer. I've showed it to you a million times probably before. It's my Soul Bean by Mary Jane Mucklestone, and it does work really nicely with this, but my neck is cold. So also in Lettlopi, also with Ash Heather and one of the grays, and maybe even the Fjord blue, because my vest was made out of leftovers. So it might be, I bet that is the same blue, the same ash. And I don't know, maybe if this were a darker color too, it might be, but isn't that just fun? I just love it. So I made the Alpine Bloom. I think it was a tea that when Caitlyn Hunter first came out with her Alpine Bloom design, I did the first one with a little lacy collar, and I do like that a lot, and it fits really great. So I think the issue for this was sizing. I think if I went up just one more size, it might fit a little better. But anyway, so let me tell you some of the other things. I actually had wrapped some presents and realized, oh my gosh, if I wait until after Christmas, then all my holiday gifts will be flown away. So let me just I'm going to show you a few of them. So a couple months ago, I think it was episode 38, but I'll put it down below. I showed you my Dogstar sweater by tincanknits that I made for a beloved grandchild, and with the plan that I would make another. So I have this one that I made for the other beloved grandchild who is bigger, and I've made this now like 4 times, and I just absolutely love that neck, so that's what keeps me going. And so what I used was the Berocco Ultra Wool. This is for the green one, in Rosemary. And then for the other one, I used the DK for the littler one, and then I used Ultra Wool worsted in Lavender for the second one. And both of them I held with, here's the remains of the Schoppel edition 3. I'm saying it wrong. If my friend Rita is listening, she will sigh over my pronunciation, but I like it. I did think about doing some duplicate stitching of a little more pink up here in this limey color, but I don't know. I think think it's nice. So I'm really happy with these. This one actually I had some issues with, and even though I've made this 4 times, this sweater, the neck just came out crazy big. And if it's superwash, then if it's going to be big, I mean, if it's big to begin with, can you imagine what might happen? So it does look a tiny bit wobbly in the ribbing there because I ripped it out and started over, but I'm happy with, I just went down 2 needle sizes, but I really did have trouble making it tight enough. So I think it's me because I've done it before. So I don't know what that's all about. So that was, it's nice, and I'm happy with them, and I'd die of happiness if I actually got a picture of both of them together, but I don't expect miracles to happen. Wearing the sweaters, I mean. So I had another pattern, and another gift item, and this was, where did I find this? Oh, I was in Apples to Oranges in Silverton, and I saw a sample, and those samples are very inspirational sometimes, aren't they? I really do like them. And this, it was called the Acantha Infinity Cowl. And I don't know if you can see, it's not many people have done the pattern, but it's got kind of a basket weave with a yarn over in there, and also it was hanging by some luscious yarn. So what I went with is this color, and I love the color, but I think I might have been happier. The pattern might have, as with many patterns, might have been more, you could see the pattern a lot better if it were not so dark. But anyway, I also had a little issue with this one, but because the pattern design doesn't jump out at you with this color and all the color shifting in there, I ended up weaving it, but I was annoyed with myself. So what I did was, the pattern is actually different. Oh, and I didn't say the design is by Susanna IC, capital IC. So I don't know how you say that. Yeah, it does, or Elsie IC. I don't know. It doesn't have any more information than that. And I have used Malabrigo. I think it's Dos Tierra in the, well, golly, I do not know what color I used. And it's supposed to be in this ball, and it is not in the ball. So I'll put it down below. It's a Malabrigo. You know, you've seen some variations of this color. I'm pretty sure it's, I don't think it's indigo, but it is half baby alpaca and half merino, and it is just super soft. And it is an infinity cowl. And I think just a really, really nice little gift item. Let me put some, I don't know if you can see that. I mean, it's got a nice lacy bit. But the mistake I made is it's different on the right side than the left side. And at some point I switched sides unknowingly, did many, many, many rows before I noticed it. So I had a debate what to do, and I decided that the person who's receiving it is also a maker, and I don't think she'll mind. So anyway, there we go. And let's see, another thing I made, and towards the end I did a lot of, I was having problems with things. I must have cast on several patterns and said, no, this isn't working, and I'm getting up to the holidays, and this is the kind of dithering and challenges that I should have been dealing with in, if I had been dealing with them in November. I'm trying not to say I should have. I'm avoiding I should have. I don't want to role model bad behavior, but if I had started earlier, then I could have worked the kinks out. I know somebody who started early, did all kinds of astounding gift knitting that is just fantastic, and finished it all up. And you know who you are, honey, and finished it all up way before the holiday. So if you're doing things early, you have time to think, is this really the colorway I want to use, or is this the pattern? And so anyway, hope springs eternal for next year, maybe. Another thing I did, I've done quite a few before, and I still have a lot of the yarn left over from the sweaters, is I did a Barley hat with a combination. Oh, this colorway that I used for the baby sweaters is English Garden is the color, if I didn't say it. So it's edition 3, English Garden. And then another one that I just love is this one, and I use some of that for this. So this is a Barley hat by tincanknits, free pattern. I've made it many times before, and I have done it without the, it has a little purl, a section of purling in here, which is really interesting in the original pattern. But because of all the color working, it's just a simple little thing, but really fun. Hopefully it will fit, and I'm hoping to do one more. We also have a lot of, not a lot, but we have a few birthdays of loved ones in the first part of the year. So sometimes if I don't finish something for the holiday, I still have time to do a little knitting. Okay, and is there one more thing? One last thing I'm working on, kind of a, there's a person who I wanted to do, I'm happy with all my celebratory gifts and things, but one person I wanted to do something. I just feel dissatisfied, and so I'm making this. This is the Bandana Cowl by Purl Soho. It's a really old it doesn't say the year, but it's been around for quite a while. It's one of those great Purl Soho patterns. I'm doing it on size 10 needles, and I am not positive, but I am pretty sure. Oh, I actually, scissors, anybody? It's Imperial yarn, which is climate beneficial yarn from Oregon, and I'm pretty sure it's 100% wool. And it's alpaca wool. It is super soft. They say it's sport weight, and I just had some in my wool pantry, and I'm holding it together here. And oh my gosh, I mean, I'm having some issues But here's the colorway I'm using. And I have it held with some mohair that is one of my favorite mohairs. And the reason I don't wear my glasses is because of this reflecting there. This is the Dorstad Creek Isle of Skye yarn in the espresso bean colorway. So I just love it. It's one of my favorite mohairs, silk mohairs. So this is just a warm little cowl. I've probably had problems because, oh, and here's the Imperial yarn. Dennis and I have been watching Shetland, the TV show, and if you're a Shetland if you're interested in Shetland and Shetland wool and everything, you've probably heard of it. We started it when it first came out a number of years ago, and it felt dark, pretty dark to us, but maybe we've gotten more accepting of it or whatever. And so we didn't watch it for quite a few seasons. And then recently, the main character left and a woman came on to replace him. And I thought, oh, I want to give it a try. And we have really been hooked and actually went back and watched old episodes. So it's probably no surprise that I've had some things messing up in the knitting because I've been glued to the television. Maybe that's it. Okay, I think that's about it that I have. Now, this means that I am going to be, I do have another gift that I intended and that I will do, even if I started on Christmas Day. It's a gift for somebody. So that still might happen. And if so, then I will show you next time. But I feel a little, I feel like I don't have something that I'm just wild about from a knitting perspective right now. Let me see if I can, oh, there were a couple things. Okay, but there are two things, inspirational things. One might not happen before the holiday at all, but I was in, we went to Portland recently, and on the way we stopped at Wild Knits in Salem, which is a fabulous, really nice, spacious yarn store. And we got some gifts there for other makers, and I wasn't planning on getting anything, of course, but they had a hank of these seasonal Woolstok mini hanks, and I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 different colors. And you can go online and get a free pattern for their tiny holiday collections. Yeah, tiny holiday collections. And it is little hats, sweaters, socks, and I think a scarf. And now obviously, because I am just days before Christmas, about less than a week, not much will be happening, but maybe over the holiday when the kids are here, I might do a little bit of this. That would be fun. Otherwise, I will put it away and maybe put it in a bag and mark it away for the holiday, and try and start in November or October even with these cute little holiday decorations. You could use them in a strand. I'm sure you've seen them all over. There's probably lots of free patterns, but I did particularly like it, and they had a strand of them at Wild Knits, and so this was my little 2 for you and 1 for me yarn store purchasing. I also went to Close Knits, my favorite yarn store, and I didn't purchase anything but I loved seeing what was there. And one reason I didn't is that this last month, maybe a couple weeks ago, I started, I'm not quite finished, but I started a major clean out of my cabinet. Consequently, there are all kinds of things strewn about here that I'm still deciding where to put them. But that whole top shelf up there is yarns that I have where I have enough to make a sweater or a vest, but mostly sweaters. And I had fabric up here, and the reality is I haven't done any sewing for more than a year, probably several years. And so I felt like it was just taking up really valuable real estate up there. And I was looking at all the time instead of looking at yarn, and it is right at eye level. So I thought, I'm putting all the yarns that I have in large quantities up there, and it actually does take almost all of them. I do have other yarns where I could make stripes or some maybe Oliver color work, that kind of thing. I mean, it's certainly not all of it up in that one shelf, but where I have all of one color, that's it. And there's enough to make a good 7, I think 6, 7, 8 sweaters. So I wanted to be looking at it so I didn't feel tempted to buy yarn that I don't actually need right now. That's the theory anyway. And then other yarns in the other 2 levels are some of my favorite woolly yarns where I have smaller amounts. And then I took a whole bag. For somebody who's not much of a sock knitter, I have a surprising amount of sock yarn. And so, and it's awkward because it's all small amounts. And I ended up I have a clear bag, and I put all the sock yarn in one bag. So that's in there. And then I still have another like little bit right down in the lowest area. And I'm not sure what to do, because when things are in smaller amounts, it's really hard to store them. So I haven't quite figured that out. I do have, it was good to take stock, and I'm not finished, but I did get a paper bag, and put a lot of the yarns that I just don't see myself using, and they do not bring me joy, as Marie Kondo suggests we use as a standard. They're almost annoying me when I look at them, and this is supposed to be joyful, so they're from a different time in life, or they were a mistake or a weirdo impulse buy where I wasn't thinking about who I am and what I like. I was in some fantasy world there. And so I've got a bag together. There are some beautiful yarns there. They're just not for me. So I think they will be moved along, and I'm hoping that there's some people I know who will be interested in. If not, then I will take them to Mecca, which is our local store where they take donations of art supplies. So let me think. What else? I'm looking at the time here. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, I did buy myself a book, but it is not paper, unfortunately. I really wish it was, but what I got was an ebook called 1 Year with Wiola Cardigans, and it's by Kristin, Wiola, Odegard. And the reason I got it is Woolly Thistle has been showing Corinne's Agnes cardigan, and it's an all over top down colorwork cardigan. And so in the new year, I am hoping to start that, or at least print out some of the book to show you. But it's just all of the book. It has many cardigans and pullovers in there. I think there's a couple hats and a scarf. But one of the things that she does that I really loved is on her cardigans, she finishes them off with holding 2 strands of mohair and doing like going in a seam and almost making a little bobble all the way down. It's really cute. And she has a scarf like that. And I almost did the scarf for somebody, so maybe I'll still do that. But it was really beautiful sweaters, so that's really tempting. You might look and see, look her up and just see some of the work that she does. Okay, I think that is it. I have a few, let's see, one of the books I read recently, I'll just mention a few of them, but one of the books I read recently, and I think it was a reread or I had read part of it or something like that, was a book by Clara Parks, and it's A Stash of One's Own, and it's a series of essays by all kinds of knitters and designers. Some of the people in there are Amy Christophers, Kay, and oh my gosh. Now that I said Amy Christophers, I'm now not sure. But the women from Modern Daily Knitting, Susan B. Anderson, Meg Swanson, the daughter of Elizabeth Zimmerman, Clara herself, but quite a few other people. I'm trying to think of a few others, but anyway, very enjoyable. And they're talking about your stash yarn. I like wool pantry very much as a phrase, and just some interesting thoughts about how you feel about this yarn collection that a lot of us have. And I have to say that after doing this, I think I did a cleanup out about a year ago of all my yarns, kind of a taking inventory. And this time I even though I'm not finished and there's still yarn and miscellaneous bits around here, I do feel better organizing by sweater instead of by the weight of the wool or that kind of thing. So anyway, it's really, I thought, a very nicely done book. I think it was written in 2017. Another, I read 2 books by a woman named Helen Vickers. The names will all be below in case I've messed up, so you might look there, but I'm pretty sure it's Vickers. And she wrote The Golem and the Jinni and Hidden Palace. And they are both really interesting. I thought I mentioned them last time, but I didn't see them in my show notes. So they are kind of a fantasy story, but in the real world, which I really like. So there are two creatures that are not human, the Golem and the Jinni, and but it's really a lot about being human. So that might be a repeat for you. And what else did I read? Oh, I read the last Maisie Dobbs. The library came through, and so I have read all of the Maisie Dobbs series by Jacqueline Winspear. Those were a really fun read and kind of soothing. I find a series is soothing because you already know the characters, so every time a new book comes out, you're interested in saying, where are they now? What are they doing? And another series is Louise Penny, and one kind of a splurge for me was the Gray Wolf, which I read on my Kindle because I don't know, some of those mysteries, you read them so fast. If you owned them all, it would be a lot, and it's still in hardback, and so I didn't really want to invest in that, but I did get it on Kindle, and it's a big fat book and nice to read on my slim little machine there. And I think, is there anything else? I am hoping and expecting that Santa will be generous with the book flood. So I'm sure I've talked to you in the past about, and you maybe have heard if you're online, about the Icelandic tradition of the book flood. And this developed, I think, after or during World War II, when there were all kinds of things that were hard to get, including food and probably clothing. But one thing they didn't have a lack of was paper, and did publications near the holiday. And I don't know if they're still doing that, the publications near the holiday, but it seems to be something that they look forward to seasonally, and call it the Icelandic term for book flood. And the tradition is to get your books for Christmas and spend a good portion of time reading and drinking hot chocolate. And that sounds absolutely delightful to me. So usually I suggest to Santa that one or two books or more books, and I certainly help Santa with book gifts. And we went to Powell's this week. We didn't actually go for looking at knitting stores. We actually went to go to Powell's, the bookstore in Portland that takes up a full city block. And also there's a very nice that's on my brain. A very nice toy store, and a good record store that Dennis enjoys going into. So we did that, and then we finished it up with an antique store, and it was Christmas full out, full stop. And what did I get there? I did get some, well, I was looking for bottle brush trees, and I did get some. Maybe I'll put some pictures up on Instagram of that. Anyway, I hope you are all well. This can be a really tough time for people, and I think the trick for me, because the kids don't come every year, the trick for me has been adjusting to Christmas some years is a much more quiet thing. A lot of friends are with family and so forth. So if you're alone, I hope you can enjoy it. I hope you can also find some people who are in a similar situation. we have actually evolved to, we usually do some kind of socializing in our house, if not elsewhere, and fill the house with people at some point, even if it's not on right on Christmas Day, and try and make it feel festive. And the quieter holiday has been something I have enjoyed, but has taken some getting used to for me. So I hope you're healthy and finding some joy in this season. I believe tomorrow is going to be our shortest, darkest day of the year. Feels pretty gloomy right now. My phone has punched up the light. I'm facing the French doors, but looking out, there is no sun to be seen. So I've turned on light, I've lit a candle, and I am also starting to be able to walk more, and that has been fabulous. So anyway, I hope that you are enjoying yourself and having some fun crafting. And I don't know about you, but I am really excited to settle in on a few patterns and start the year out with some fun and enjoyable knitting. So take care and happy knitting.